You guys, Stuart Piddle on the most targeted citizen. This is going to be a quick one. This is Stuart Piddle on the most targeted citizen. This is going to be a quick one. I didn't want to go live, but I needed to do this. I'm pretty jacked up from the watching cops violate the rights of innocent Americans today. And I wanted to go over a case that we saw in 2020. It was body cam footage. And I'm going to read the report. And this report is going to, for the trolls out there, there are a lot of excuses that people use on me to deny what I say about being a targeted individual. There's so many. What's the most obvious excuse that people use to attack me? You're in the flight path of an airport. That's the main one. What's the other one? There's so many. The FBI don't use any front companies, and if they did, it would the name would be the FBI. It wouldn't be a front company. They would say it's the FBI that owns the aircraft place. And then they'd say, well, you can't get put on a terrorist watch list unless you're a terrorist. These are some of the ignorant, stupid remarks that are told to me, a targeted individual. So what I want to do is I'm going to read this article from the Tallahassee Democrat. And I'm going to expound on why how do I say this? I don't want to say it backs up, but it solidifies what I'm telling you that happens to an innocent American when the FBI or when the federal government puts you on a list. So this is going to go over a little bit of FBI tactics, FBI training, the operations that they run as federal agents. So stick with me. This is so you know I ain't lying about it. This is the name of this is called Caught on Body Cam. FBI agent chasing Florida corruption complaint ends up locked in a patrol car. I don't know if you guys ever saw this. It was from Franklin County, Florida. An FBI agent was investigating a ticket, a speeding ticket. Somebody put a complaint in on this officer that's in the body cam footage about something he was investigating corruption at this sheriff's department. Everything was the FBI agent. And let me read it, and then I'll go back and fill you in. I'll try to link the body cam footage, but it's going to be hard to do. Here we go. Carabelle, an FBI agent checking out a complaint about police corruption in rural Northwest Florida, ended up handcuffed in the back seat of a patrol car. Hold on a minute. Let me get my glasses. I can't see what I'm doing. My eyes are wasted. Look how cute you are. I'm coming. Keep holding with me. All the no people that's in here. Okay. We'll start over. An FBI agent checking out a complaint about police corruption in rural Northwest Florida ended up handcuffed in the backseat of a patrol car after running into deputies who doubted his true identity. The ordeal unfolded after Special Agent Alexis Hatton traveled from Panama City to the small town of Carabelle to ask about a citation the Franklin County Sheriff's officer gave to a prominent businesswoman, but later pulled back from the courthouse. It escalated into a roadside confrontation, all caught on body cam video, between Hatton and the deputies. During the 6 minutes Hatton spent locked in the cruiser, he cried out for cool air and demanded to be released. I can't believe this is happening, the veteran FBI agent said. You think this is funny? But it won't be funny after today. The hour-long incident, now under review by the FBI, happened December 20th in a parking lot off U.S. Highway 98 in the coastal fishing community about 45 miles southwest of Tallahassee. Hatton hastily scheduled an interview with Deputy Rolf Gordon to talk about the ticket, which he'd issued a few weeks earlier. But the conversation went sideways after Gordon began to suspect Hatton wasn't really a federal agent, because law enforcement have that intuition. Something just don't seem right here. The agents, here we go. Now we're starting. And I'll fill in the blanks a little bit as we go from the body cam. I'll tell you what happened. The agent's vehicle's tags did not trace back to a government agency deputies expected. You mean that the FBI would have a vehicle on the road and the tag doesn't come back to the FBI, you heard it here first. FBI agents will drive vehicles that are not registered to the FBI. Wow. Now, this poor deputy must have been having a bad day. What's up, Houndor? Very sorry for the negativity in the world. I hope you have good things happen. God bless you. I need all the support that you can give me. The agent's vehicle tag didn't trace back to the government agency deputies expected after a check of his driver's license. Listen to me. The cop is running the tag to the agent's vehicle, which comes back to a electrical place. Now listen about his ID. An FBI agent's identification. After a check of his driver's license, his name, the FBI agent's name, popped up on a terrorist watch list, according to body cam footage and Sheriff A.J. Smith in a subsequent interview. This story's been making rounds in Franklin County. Political circles came to light after the Tallahassee Democrat obtained the body cam footage, police reports, and other documents through a public records request. The records exposed normally secretive movements of the FBI, whose recent public corruption investigations in North Florida have led to numerous guilty pleas from government officials, including former Tallahassee City Commissioner Scott Maddox. They also highlighted the FBI's interest in the sheriff's office, though it's unclear whether that goes beyond a mere traffic ticket. Smith, who's running for a second term, said his opponents likely complained to the FBI to score political points in an election year. They must have told them there's some kind of corruption, or the sheriff is corrupt, he said. That's all I can figure. It's certainly not true. Smith said he's not aware of any broader federal probe involving his office. The FBI was characteristically tight-lipped, saying it could neither confirm nor deny an investigation. You mean the FBI keeps things private? The tense standoff could have spiraled even further out of control, potentially putting officers in danger. At one point, after Gordon detained Hatton, the agent held his hands up in surrender and refused to put them down, even after the deputy said he could. I don't want to be shot out here, Hatton said. I don't want to be shot either, Gordon replied. James Dooley, a retired New York City police captain and adjunct professor at the John Jay College of Criminal Justice, said the incident could have escalated into an unintentional act of blue-on-blue violence. Now, that sounds terrible. I would hate for law enforcement to kill each other. That would be a detriment to society. Imagine all the safe people that would be around America if cops started killing other cops. There could have been an emotional, visceral reaction by any of the parties, he said. There wasn't, thank God. But anytime you have a confrontation between a uniform officer and a plainclothes officer whose identity is not immediately established, there's a potential for tragedy. Whew, the humanity. The FBI declined to comment in detail, but acknowledged it is reviewing the incident. The FBI remains committed to full coordination with all of our law enforcement partners, a Bureau spokesperson said, and we will continue to work together with the Franklin County Sheriff's Office to strengthen the relationship between our agencies and ensure the safety and security of the community. Agent Hatton went to Carabel to ask about a traffic ticket Gordon gave to a prominent local businesswoman for leaving the scene of a December 3 crash. And while the FBI isn't known for its interest in traffic matters, the ticket in question wasn't handled ordinarily. After the ticket driver complained to the Sheriff Smith, he asked for an internal review. Deputies picked the ticket up from the courthouse before it could be logged into the clerk of court system. The sheriff's office eventually handed it off to the prosecutors, who dismissed it for lack of evidence. On the day of the incident, Hatton rang Gordon on his personal cell phone. The FBI agent called the officer on his personal cell phone, something the deputy found odd. He wanted to meet. The deputy found odd and identified himself as an FBI agent. He wanted to meet with Gordon to talk about something going on in Carabel, the deputy later wrote. We've got the trifecta of stupid with Deputy Gordon. The first thing is, an FBI agent shows his credentials. He runs the FBI agent's tag, and it doesn't come back to the FBI. And he goes, "God darn, boys, I think we got a problem. I think this guy's a fake." The officer, Gordon, also was weary and unaware and stunned that how did an FBI agent get my cell phone number? Ooh, I'm having a flashback. I'm having deja vu. Deja vu that cop's kicking my door right now and shut me down. That's weird, ain't it? 0 people in here. That's never happened before. On the day of the incident, Hatton rang Gordon on his personal cell phone, something the deputy found odd, and identified himself as an agent. He wanted to meet with Gordon to talk about something going on. At the meeting spot, Hatton flashed his FBI credentials and said he spent the last 31 years investigating police corruption and civil rights violations. He said he wanted to talk about the traffic ticket. Gordon called the supervisor, Sergeant T.J. Carroll, to tell him what's going on. Carroll advised the interview would have to be rescheduled through the sheriff's office. I wonder why they would do that. There ain't going to be nobody ratting out the sheriff in this county, is it? The agent's demeanor appeared to change as if this agitated him, Gordon said. Mr. Hatton told me he wasn't going to do that. He said he would have the U.S. attorney contact me directly to take care of this. That's when the deputy, convinced the mystery man may be a fraud after all. Woo, we got good police work here. Activated his body camera then. Something fishy with this. Hatton, visibly perturbed, identified himself again and asked Gordon to turn the camera off, but Gordon declined. I don't know how legitimate you are at the moment, the deputy said. Gordon asked Hatton for his business card, but the agent said he doesn't give them that either. FBI agents usually don't say, here's my card, man. Contact me anytime my cell phone's on. Let's go get a bite to eat and maybe a round of golf. It don't happen. I don't believe this, Gordon said over his radio. There's something fishy with this right here. Hatton's Ford Taurus came back to a business called Advanced Wiring Company in Jacksonville, a dispatcher said. Gordon asked Hatton whether he worked for the company. Hatton said curtly it was a covert vehicle. So the sheriff's deputy thinks that a vehicle an FBI agent's driving must come back to the FBI. This deputy, this genius that he is, Deputy Gordon, can't figure out how an FBI agent got his personal cell phone number because they know everything about all of us. He can't figure out why the FBI agent wanted to talk off the camera while he's investigating corruption. This cop just doesn't seem to be that in tune, does it? And he can't figure out it's a covert vehicle. That's strange. I'm not cuffing you, Gordon said, but you're being very uncooperative with me. You don't need to be a deputy. Hatton, outside the car with his hands up, asked Gordon to take his gun, but then reversed himself, saying he didn't have permission to disarm him. The agent radioed FBI dispatch to report what was happening. Later on the phone with the supervisor, he explained the situation had escalated after he came to talk to Gordon. You've got to call the sheriff and let him know that his deputies have me stopped here and are holding me, the agent said. He's going to ask why, and you're not going to be able to tell him. Gordon, waiting for a supervisor to show up, told Hatton he never showed him his badge. Hatton pulled it out and asked the deputy to take it. Gordon lied because he did show his credentials. Do you not see a badge? The agent asked. Oh, good Lord. Well, you don't need to be a deputy. Yeah, that's true. Nearly 20 minutes into the encounter, Gordon's colleagues arrived at the scene with stunning news. Hatton's name came back hot on a terrorist watch list. What? An FBI agent's name comes back on a terrorist watch list. How does that happen, guys? That can't happen in America. Just like when I tell people I'm on a terrorist watch list, oh, you're just out of your mind. After I read the terrorist watch list of all the Al-Shabaabs, Al-Shabibs, and Al-Shahis that I'm on, from Iraq to Afghanistan to Iran, all of these terror lists that I'm on, but that doesn't happen. Can't happen. And yet it happened to an FBI agent. Seriously, somebody. I swear to Lord Jesus, Detective Matt Goldman said. However, deputies later seemed to express confusion about the watch list. Carroll said one person advised Hatton's name was on the list and for law enforcement to use extreme caution, but someone else told him his name was completely different. Smith said Hatton's name was linked to the watch list after the sheriff's office ran his license through the state's driver and vehicle information database. He said he couldn't release a document showing Hatton on the list because it's exempt under public records law. So in other words, you think the deputy was lying about the terrorist watch list the FBI agents on just to keep him there? I don't think so. Carroll handcuffed Hatton with his hands behind his back and removed a semi-automatic Glock handgun from his hip holster. Right now, we're running your name through multiple federal databases, Gordon said. Nobody's coming back with your name. Wow. You mean an FBI agent's name wouldn't come back on regular databases? You mean his car wouldn't come back to the FBI on regular databases? Well, that's just strange. You mean his name's on a terrorist watch list? That's strange. Nobody's coming back with your name. You're also coming back on a terror watch list. We're going to secure you for your protection and ours. Because, when your daddy's beating the snot out of you, knocking your nose, and you're bleeding, blood coming out of your mouth, your dad says, well, this is going to hurt me more than it's going to hurt you. Well, that's what the cops are saying. This is for your protection, sir. They put him in the back of Gordon's cruiser. Dark tinted windows rolled up. They just started yelling for help. A minute or two later, I need air, Brother Hatton said. I'm suffering in here. All right, I'm turning it on now, Gordon said. I got the air on full blast. No, you don't, Hatton cried. You're burning me up. Brother, I need air. God almighty. Moments later, an officer on the radio said he was on the phone with his agent supervisor. He's legit, the officer said. He's down here on official business. I'm not going to defend deputies, sheriffs, cops, FBI agents. I'm not going to defend any of them. I'm not going to wish bad on them, but I'm not going to pray for them to be safe either. They had me smoking in the back. Hatton. Once Hatton was released, he repeatedly asked deputies to call 911 saying he needed medical attention. Deputies requested paramedics as he peeled off his sweater and radioed FBI dispatch. Jacksonville, I need 911, he said. I've asked for help. I've been in a car. They had me smoking in the back. The agent sank into the driver's seat of his car and complained about vision problems, a common symptom of heat stroke. Can't see, Hatton said. I've lost my vision. Emergency medical workers arrived and loaded him into an ambulance, Hatton said. Hatton asked to be taken to a hospital in Tallahassee, but officers weren't convinced he was hurt. The officers who have been wrong the whole time now saying that Hatton, an FBI agent, is lying about being overheated. And the nominee for Best Actor, one officer quipped. Hatton said Gordon had the heat on in his car, but the deputy denied it. Gordon said he initially had the defroster set on cool, but turned the air conditioner on full blast after the agent complained. Oh, so here we are in a rock and a hard place. Who are we going to believe, the FBI agent, or are we going to believe the cop, the deputy? It was 66 degrees outside the time, Gordon noted in his report. Sheriff Smith, in an interview, said nothing was wrong with Hatton when he was discharged from the hospital later that day. The FBI, citing privacy concerns, declined to say whether Hatton was physically armed, but the Bureau suggested the sheriff may have overstepped in his assessment of the agent's condition. It's important to note that only a patient's condition is known to that patient and the medical provider, the FBI spokesperson said, and only a patient can disclose that information. We need to have some training. In the hours after Hatton was released, FBI agents and brass descended on Apalachicola, meeting with Gordon and the sheriff to find out what happened and why. Gordon, in his report, said he answered their questions truthfully. Smith, who arrived at the scene moments before Hatton was released, defended the actions of his deputies. He said Gordon erred on the side of caution. Well, you've never seen a cop defend his buddy, have you? That just never happens in today's world. His buddy's innocent even after being proven guilty, and you are guilty no matter what. Smith, with the information and knowledge that he had, I think he handled it appropriately, Smith said. Dooley, the former NYPD officer, said he didn't believe deputies did anything wrong with the scene. He said trouble could have been avoided. The FBI agent arranged for an interview in an office setting, but he added he couldn't speak to the agency's investigative techniques in the Carabel inquiry. Smith said most of his deputies have never seen a name appear on the terrorist watch list or encountered FBI agents in the field. That doesn't sound believable to me. As many people's on this terrorist watch list. We don't see them often in our county, he said. That's one of the things that I talked about with the FBI. We need to have some training. Money. We need more money. That's what that means. And we need to know who their people are. And they agree. Larry Keefe, U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of Florida, declined to comment. The sheriff acknowledged his office didn't have solid lines of communication with the FBI at that time of the incident, but now they do, he said. We're going to try to use this, Smith, to make both our agencies work together a lot better. So here we go. With 0 people in here, that never happens. I wonder who they're cutting me off from. So here we are. I've told you guys repeatedly, I am a target of the deep state, the FBI, the CIA. I am being targeted by the deep state in America. Our defense industries, I'm being experimented on. They have tried to kill me numerous times. They've successfully killed several people that I know and love and adore. Their cars, their equipment do not come back to the FBI. So when I say Salt Air Leasing in Hickory, North Carolina is a front company for the FBI, I am telling you that honestly, without joking. I am telling you, the FBI is running Salt Air Leasing, whether they are running the show over there or they are leasing their planes to FBI agents most of the time. So when I say, when people say to me, "Oh man, all you gotta do is get the tag, run the tag, and we'll find out who it is." No, you won't. You're not gonna find out. If it's a gang stalker, you may get their name, but if it's the guys that matter, like the handlers, you won't know anything about them. All you're gonna do is spin your wheels trying to find information. If it makes you feel better to get this information, do it. But all they gotta do is pull that tag and put it on another vehicle. That's all they gotta do. And with hacking, the FBI does more hacking than any other business in the world. And with InfraGard and community watch groups that like InfraGard, they can hack anything. They can hack your device. And when you send an email, you think it goes somewhere, guess where it goes? It goes straight to their fusion center. Then the fusion center starts cooperating and communicating with you, not the place you're reporting to. So the FBI has front companies, and they don't let you know that. And there's no way for you to prove that. That way they can get away with their criminal acts. Secondly, the terrorist watch list has millions of names just thrown at it. Maybe you say the word terrorist too many times on a live stream, and that puts you up because the algorithm doesn't see the human heart. The algorithm doesn't see tone. It doesn't see sarcasm. It doesn't see what makes us human. The algorithm sees words and phrases and pew, 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 sends you upstairs to a fusion center near you. If you speak out and you click like on an American flag one too many times, guess what? It's one of them patriots. We got to take him down and shut him up. So let me reiterate. Here we have this whole story is backing up what I've told you since day one. The FBI works covertly. In 2014 and 2015, the ACLU sued the FBI for doing warrantless searches from airplanes. The FBI admitted in court that, yes, they do surveil from airplanes. Not only do they surveil from airplanes, they use their, what's it called, Stingray. So when that plane is flying over your house and all the other houses, that plane is sucking all of your metadata from your phones, your computers, and everything. And they were doing it without a search warrant. So they're just mass collecting information to round and round, and they're picking up what, because see, you can call your cable or internet provider right now, and they can tell you every movie you watched for the past year and a half. Guess what? The FBI can get that information too. So just like me, when my targeting went overt, I was watching that Finding Bigfoot stuff. So what did they use on me? They used the Bigfoot psyop. Every time I go outside, there were Bigfoot tracks all through my yard. There were Bigfoot prints in my customers' yards. There was Bigfoot prints in the dust in my home, just to terrorize me. So the ACLU sued the FBI, and the FBI admitted that they are using small dual-engine aircraft like Cessnas and Pipers that follow me around everywhere. They use them daily in America to surveil people that don't even and are not even accused of a crime. Now, in the Fourth Circuit, which I'm in, I think it's West Virginia, North Carolina, and South Carolina, and I think maybe not Georgia, Tennessee. In the 4th District, the Supreme Court has ruled that the law enforcement must have a search warrant. The feds must have a search warrant to be surveilling us. But do the feds ever abide by the law? I'm not defending Donald Trump here, but do you think what they did to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago was legal? Do you think the whole Russia crap was legal? Do you think what the FBI is doing in the Gretchen Whitmer kidnapping case? Those guys just pled guilty because they had the whole weight of the federal government raining on their heads, and they had no way, because you don't. It is statistically impossible for the FBI to have the federal prosecutors. It is impossible for them to have a 98% conviction rate. That is impossible in any statistic. Impossible to have a 98% conviction rate. Why? Because they throw a million charges at you just to get you on that one or two, just enough to punish you to say, you better shut up. You better shut up, sit down, and take the whipping we're giving you right now. Here's a strange thing. 4 thumbs up and only 1 person in here. Hello, Miss Carol. So they outlawed it in the 4th Circuit, but as you see every day at my house and at my hunting property and in the mountains and in the foothills and everywhere I go, salt air leasing is right on my head. I just don't understand what else I need to do to prove this is happening. I've shown the flight logs. I went to the airport even, and everybody over there was just acting as strange as they could be. I showed the flight log where it says my name, CHANNON with a big T. The FBI are no different than the Gestapo, than the SS for Hitler. They are no different than the KGB. None. There is no difference. They are the hangman of the United States communist government. Project Veritas had their homes raided over Ashley Biden's diary. Did you know the 2 addicts who found Ashley Biden's diary underneath a mattress in an assisted living home for rehab? Did you know those people pled guilty today in court for taking a stolen item over state lines? They didn't steal anything. They stole nothing. They got this diary, they found it, and they wanted to get a fix. So they sold the diary, tried to sell it to everybody, and James O'Keefe with Project Veritas bought it for $40,000. And yet he still, to this day and even then, did not publish his story on the diary. And yet they raided his home, his businesses, took all his lawyers' classified, personal, confidential information, which is illegal as can be. It's attorney-client privilege is the most privileged information in America. And the next day after they were raided, the Washington Post and the New York Times produces that for the mainstream media to read through. All the conversations from James O'Keefe from Project Veritas. Really? In a banana republic, the people still have a chance. I don't want to say at justice, but to escape punishment. And that's through paying off the people in charge that are trying to, not just prosecute, but persecute you. In a banana republic, you can buy off the pigs. You go to Mexico, you can pay the cops off and get away with anything. In America today, you don't escape because they will set you up with an attorney that's on the take, and that attorney will sell you down the river. That's why all these targeted individuals say, well, you just get a lawyer and you can sue the federal government. I've told you, and I've shown you the facts that every single time a targeted individual sued the federal government's lawyer goes up in front of the judge and says, Your Honor, this is classified information from the DOD and the HHS. This is confidential information, and it could endanger the homeland. And the judge goes, what? Dismissed. You're out of here. There is no justice for a targeted individual. None. Don't think I'm the bearer of bad news. I'm just telling you the truth. Hello, Miss Carol. Thanks for being here. There is no justice for us. Any person, fat, tall, skinny, all, I don't care. If they tell you to call law enforcement and report it, run from them. Delete them from your page. Any person that is giving you the advice, say, I watched another one the other night, and I just don't take much pleasure in exposing people anymore. If these people are targeted and I expose them for what they're doing wrong, it could further hurt them. And I don't want to hurt innocent people. Whether I know they're innocent or not, it ain't my judgment. But I was watching a channel the other day, and this guy, I think he's Korean American, and he was calling out all these targeted individuals that were gang stalkers. And he's like, "Oh, this is a gang stalker, and this is a gang stalker," and he was just going off. And I was like, "Man, this doesn't get us anywhere." But the first thing he said was, "I'm going to give advice to everybody, and the best advice is the first thing you need to do is go see a doctor. And once you see the doctor, then you take that information you got from the doctor and you go to the police and you make a police report." And I'm thinking to myself, what is he doing? Does he really think that's sound advice? Does he really? The two worst enemies of a targeted individual: law enforcement and doctors. I'm sorry. You may think that that's wrong. You may think that's dangerous because that's what they accuse me of. You're in danger, and those crazy people are listening to you and saying they think they got voices. They need a doctor. They should be on medication. Guys, I don't know if you heard what happened, what they admitted yesterday on the news, but the CDC and all of Joe Biden's hospital doctor people that write the legislation and tell us when to shut our homes and our businesses down, they admitted yesterday. They found the email where they admitted that they got it all wrong. So for 2.5 years, these people pushing the jab on us every day and every night, telling me how I'm dumb and how I'm going to die from this. All these people admitted on a private email that they were wrong from day one to the last day. Dr. Fauci finally, thank God, Dr. Klopek, if you remember that movie, Tom Hanks, is finally going to retire. He's the highest paid government official in America. $450,000 or $90,000 a year he's given us. That's $490,000 a year to lock down America. And let me remind the true believers of Donald Trump. Donald Trump put him in that position and never fired him. Donald Trump put Christopher Wray, head of the FBI, in there and never fired him. Everybody keeps talking, oh, Donald Trump got tricked by all these people. Listen, Donald Trump's either the smartest man to live or he's the dumbest man to live, because you can't be the smartest man to live and then buddy up to all the rhinos and all the crooked guys that he buddied up to. Once you get all that out of the way and start looking at his fruits, you see it's all part of the show. All of it. All the decisions he made that were wrong. I saw it. You saw it. Shutting down the country? Really? So the Surgeon General and all flunkies under Biden admitted on email that they got it wrong. So Biden, who's got 2 vaccines, 4 or 5 boosters, if you believe he got them, has now had COVID twice. Dr. Fauci, who says, wear a diaper on your face with 2 masks, get vaccinated, and have 10 boosters. What else did it say then? Then he gets COVID as well. The hypocrisy is astounding. So appreciate the 2 or 3 people hanging out with me. God bless you. I didn't want to come on for long. I just wanted to. But it's so hard to believe that law enforcement in America is corrupt. Do you not see it? What does it take? Me and the other people that come to my channel and the thousands on YouTube alone, we just decided one day, well, I'm just going to give away everything I own. I'm going to tell my family to screw off. I'm going to act insane, and I'm going to leave my home and my property, and I'm going to start slashing my own tires, stealing my own money, and giving that away. And at the same time, I'm just going to take a curling iron and burn my genitals just to prove to people that I'm being hit with directed energy weapons. That is insane. I am not. I'm Stuart Pidlong, the most targeted citizen. Pray for me, pray for my family, pray for your purpose. Always pray in Jesus' name. If you guys want to do a live stream, I want people to be in here and be interactive. So those of you that are here, God bless you. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Any comments, please leave a comment and I'll answer. Any questions, please leave it for me. My PayPal address is the same as my my email address. So in the link of every video, the link in the description, that is my actual email address. If you want to talk to me or you have a question or you want to speak on the phone directly to me, that's great. Leave your email. I'll email you back. You can give me your number and then we'll conversate. And everything's confidential unless you want the world to know. Anybody that wants to call in, let's set it up. I got a lot of good responses from questioning the target individuals so other people can hear your story too. I got a microphone. You call me or I call you. I put it right here and you speak anything you want to talk about. There's just one guy and he's been commenting for the last 2 months. I now recall why I blocked him a couple years ago, because you ever see the comments on my channel where it's always the same 1 or 2 people who are just they claim to be targeted and yet they're always needling you. Well, there's another reason. Oh, that really ain't targeting. Oh, or you need to prove this a little more. So targeted individuals who are questioning me more than the other people who don't know anything about targeting. And it just seems that they're there to needle you. You ever known them people? Well, I made a mistake and opened that pathway of communication back up, and it's just been more than I can bear. I'm not going to go exposing, but the last name's got the same letter as the first name. You can take it, or the channel names, the last letter is last name's first letter, the same as the first name's first letter. You can take it from there. I'm not going to do any exposing tonight, but if you're targeted, I'm going to think about what you're doing. I'm going to watch your videos, a few of them. I don't get immersed, but I want to see what you've got to show. I want to see what you consider targeting, and I'll pray about it. And if God says, "Hey, this person is being sincere," I'll back you. I'll back you. There are a lot of targeted individuals that make a lot of stupid mistakes. I have found, and I am sure that I'm not the oldest person in here tonight. I'm 47. But I'll tell you, I see this every day in my life. People that are 10 or so years younger than me and more, they ain't built like I am. Their mental state is like 50 to 60 IQ points off. And I'm not saying they're dumb people. I'm just saying there was the DNA got cut after my birthday. After I was born in 75, it's like 75 from 76 on. I mean, I'm being generous with the 10-year, 85, but I'm telling you, it's like something broke. Something broke because there's no common sense in the younger generation. Not only no common sense, but I can draw a picture. I can take a picture of the sun and show it to these people. And they're looking at it and they say potato. A picture of the sun and they'll say potato. And they'll argue vehemently that they're right, that's a goddamn potato floating in the sky. That's how insane this world has gotten. And I try to remember a lot of these targeted individuals, they just talk and talk and talk. They don't say nothing, but they just talk for hours. And then when you watch other people comment to them that are around their own age, the people that are commenting on these other pages are like, wow, you're so smart. You really know about this stuff. And I'm thinking, what? Am I in Bizarro world? Because the people that are talking for hours and they never say anything appear to me to be dumber than rocks. And yet the people that are on their page are like, they're the greatest thing since sliced bread. Is it just me, Carol? Is that your experience? I mean, if people are old me, they probably think I've got a few screws loose and I'm not as smart as articulate, but they're broke. I mean, I've got some personal experiences with the people that I cohabitate with, and there's breakage. There's things are not firing between any of them, and it just nobody's home. That's it. It's we are doomed as a species. I mean, God's going to kill us all. I mean, he's coming. He is coming, and he's going to wipe it all out. He's tearing it all down to the ground. It's I always thought when I was young, I said, man, I always thought that I was meant for greatness. I always felt like I had, like one day there'd be a car on a little baby and I'd pick the car up and throw it off. I always felt like I would do something great in my life. It's just, and people say, well, you're a narcissist. Of course you would think that. No, it has nothing to do with that. I just always thought I had a higher calling, and yet I'm stuck in. It's like I live in 6 feet of mud, and I try to pull out of it. It pulls my shoe off, and I try to get my other leg out, and it pulls my britches down. It's like nonstop trying to walk through mud every day in my life, being a target. It's disgusting. But for the two that stuck with me, thanks. This is the most pathetic live stream I've ever had, but I'm still me. I'm still real. I'm still here fighting for you. Have a good night. God bless. See ya.